Today, we're talking about one single court case, a case that completely changed the game for privacy in India. This is the story of how your privacy became a protected constitutional right. So let's just zero in on the single most important number here, 2017. And look, this isn't just some random year. It's a dividing line. You've got before 2017, where the whole idea of your privacy was, kind of murky, debated for decades. And then you have after 2017. And after? Well, everything changed.
A fundamental right. I mean, that sounds huge, right? But what does it actually mean? For you? For me? For the government? For all the tech companies that have our data? To really get it, we've got to step inside the courtroom and unpack this thing.
All right, first up, the verdict. And let me tell you, this was absolutely seismic. So the case is called Justice K.S. Puttaswamy versus the Union of India. And its conclusion? Just monumental. The Supreme Court didn't just, say privacy is important. No, they elevated it to a fundamental right. Just think about that for a second. It's now right up there with core principles like the right to equality and freedom of speech. That is a huge deal. And here's the kicker. What makes this so powerful? The decision was unanimous. This wasn't some 5-4 split decision. A special 9-judge bench was put together for this, and the final vote, 9-0. Everyone agreed. You just don't see that kind of consensus very often, and it sent an incredibly strong message. This wasn't some minor legal tweak. It was a massive, undisputed statement about what liberty means in modern India. Okay, so to really get why this was so revolutionary, we have to go back in time. We need to look at what was there before. Because this decision wasn't just about creating a new right. It was about destroying an old and, honestly, a very dangerous precedent.
And that dangerous precedent has a name. ADM Jabalpur. This was a judgment from back in the 70s during the emergency, and it basically said the government could just suspend your most basic rights. It's considered one of the absolute lowest points in India's judicial history. So in 2017, the court didn't just ignore it. They went out of their way to expressly overrule it, to bury it once and for all.
And you can see the difference right here. On one side, you have the old view from ADM Jabalpur. The state could basically just hit pause on your fundamental rights. But on the other side, you've got the new reality after this case. Privacy is an intrinsic, protected right that can't just be swiped away. It's a complete 180-degree turn.
Okay, so this brings us to the really crucial question. If the word privacy isn't literally spelled out in the Constitution, then where did the Supreme Court find it? How on earth did they justify such a massive decision?
Yeah, that's the central puzzle, right? It's one thing to say, hey, privacy is important, but it's a whole other challenge to find it baked into the actual text of the Constitution. But the court's solution? It was brilliant, both elegant and incredibly powerful.
And the answer is right here. Article 21 of the Constitution. It guarantees the right to life and personal liberty. Just a few words, but for decades, this article has been the main battleground for civil liberties in India.
And this, right here, is the core of their entire argument. The court basically asked a really simple but profound question. Can you really have a right to life or personal liberty if you have no privacy? I mean, what kind of freedom is it if your every move, every conversation, every choice could be watched? And their answer was a resounding no. They said privacy is an essential and inseparable part of Article 21. So, you see, the court didn't just hang its hat on one single argument. Sure, Article 21 was the main pillar, but they also pointed out how privacy is crucial for other rights too, like freedom of speech. I mean, think about it. How freely can you really speak if you think you're being monitored? In the end, they tied it all back to this core idea of human dignity. And it was this layered approach that really cemented privacy's place as a constitutionally protected right. Okay, so we've gone through the verdict, we've gone through the legal logic, but let's bring it all home. Why does this kind of academic-sounding court case from 2017 actually matter to you and me, to every single citizen?
This one sentence from the judgment really says it all. It's direct, it's crystal clear, and now it's the law of the land. This sentence is basically the foundation for every single future debate we're going to have about data protection, surveillance, and personal freedom in India.
So, if you remember nothing else, remember these 3 things. 1, privacy isn't just a nice-to-have anymore, it's a fundamental right. 2, it's directly connected to your constitutional right to life and freedom. And 3, This wasn't just about creating a new law. It was about fixing a huge historical wrong. And that, of course, brings us to the future. The battle for privacy might have been won in the courtroom in 2017, but the fight to define and defend it, that's happening every single day. With things like facial recognition and huge debates about our data, the real question is, what's next? How will this powerful fundamental right actually hold up in our super digital world? That's really the big question this ruling leaves for all of us to think about.